All right, welcome back. What is Black Pride? Black Pride is a political statement about your image, about your appearance. There was once upon a time in the USA where you could not say you were an American even though you were here, even though you were here before Columbus, even though you were here before the Pilgrims. So if you don't understand that, let me put it in a different way. Let's say you're a Saxon. And a lot of domestic, no traveling people will not understand this, so you got to really walk it slow. If you're a Saxon, and there were darker skinned Saxons, there was Cheddar Man in the UK. When all these Austrians and Germans came to your land and used their money from foreign lands to establish stuff in your area, when the Romans came and fought you, you just saw yourself as a Saxon, right? But as this place started to develop under Rome and what have you, under the Germans and what have you, under the Austrians and what have you, you saw yourself being put in a lesser category on the land that you've been in for quite a while. So let's say you had Saxon pride. Well, that sounds ridiculous. Well, it sounds ridiculous to you, but not the people who are Saxon. It's the same thing when you say, hey, I'm Choctaw. And I don't have Indian pride, I have Choctaw pride. I care about Choctaw. Well, let me give you one more. If you're in the Baltics and you have a Baltic pride, it's or gypsy, and you have gypsy pride. You're not part of any necessary land here or there, but you just have the pride of being a gypsy. So what happened in America is very unique, unlike any other place. What happened is when you had slavery in other places, those people got to keep their second and third language. Those people got to keep remnants of where they came from. It was only in the USA that got beaten out of you. It was only in the USA where that was discouraged. Even in Jamaica, you got to keep remnants of who you were prior. So when we start talking about Black Pride, most people who have black faces don't understand that. And this is the separation of who black people are versus somebody from Somalia who happens to be black, versus somebody from Madagascar who happens to be black, Numidia who happens to be black. There's nothing wrong with those people participating in blackness. It's just that some of those people got the ability, when they find it convenient, to say, well, I'm no longer black, I'm just Somali. Okay. I'm no longer black, I'm Numidian. Okay. I'm no longer black, I'm Madagascar. And that's where Black Pride is political, but then there's a small separation because some people don't have that ability to do that. Let me give you one more perfect example. I always use Nigeria. Nigeria did not exist in 1920. There was no such thing as Nigeria. Okay? 5 countries made up one African empire until the white people told them they can't do it no more. That's a documented fact. So if I told you I have Camden pride, who I was before the white people told me I couldn't be Camden no more, it's the same thing here in the States. The same exact thing. Let me say it one more time for you. In Africa, the largest empire that ever was Camden Empire. If I say I have Camden pride, I'm not a Nigerian. And the guy over in Cameroon says, I also have Cameroon pride. I'm not a Cameroonian. That's what's going on here in the States. Is you being in a land where anti-blacks are telling you that there's no such thing as Camden, and you insist on being who you were, being before these people even came to the land. While simultaneously, some people over there insist on calling themselves Nigerian when clearly it's not Nigeria is not an African created place. Cameroon, it's not a African created place. You know, when you make these historical facts, and then people say, "Well, let's dig into the oral history." Cool. Let's get on a college stage and let's get into the oral history. Let's stop hiding. Let's have that discussion, and then you'll find out some of those things can't stand because they're inconsistent. You can't tell me the year. You can't tell me the timeline. So when we talk black pride, it's not to diminish other people. It's not to diminish other people. I use those examples. Now, those people can do what they want. Let's make that clear. It's not to diminish other people. It's to set you up and let you know that some things are discussed in such a way where they're very political. Because you don't have the ability to claim a land. You can claim America. You know, that's what the black natives talk about. You can claim America because many darker skinned humans existed here before these other people came. So yes, you can claim America. But the biggest thing is black is a concept of political imagery before it's anything else. Not to say it can't be those other things before it's anything else. So I'm going to end by saying this. When Asian people have black pride, a smart, calculated black person say, hey, that's cool. Thank you for the appreciation. Because they're joining in the political statement. It does not mean that they can't go back to their Japanese ways. It does not mean they can't go back to their Korean ways. But in that moment, they have some type of outward expression to show other Japanese, other Koreans, hey, I have pride about these people. This is how I feel. I love how these people get down. Childish blacks tend to try to fight against that. Because childish blacks don't know how to capture that energy, and weaponize it to their point of view. Childish blacks get very loud and boisterous. You ain't black. It's kind of like how childish blacks try to create this war with light-skinned people and biracial and exotical. That's a child mentality. That's why I really want to get on stage with some of these childish blacks so we can really start exposing how they just want war. They don't want solutions. Anytime you got somebody constantly saying, I feel, that is a teller of a childish mind. You should be theoretical at this point. Okay, it's the same thing on the streets. It's the same thing when you on the stripper pole. You didn't just keep doing childish things on the stripper pole. You got really educated on how this darn pole works, how this crowd works, who makes this. That's when you're stepping into a theoretical mindset. That's when you get in game. But if you constantly act like a child and just go out there and do what you do, and the money's flowing, then you're going to get weaponized. The same thing if you a dude out here in the streets. You out here doing what you do. If you don't understand the politics, the dynamics of this whole thing over here, then you're going to get weaponized. Somebody going to use you to their advantage. I never forget, there was a guy on the streets, little short dude. He thought he was a major factor. He wasn't a major factor. the people he were with were factors. But in his mind, he thought it was him. Well, we got guns just like you got guns. And then when those people over there turn him into a heron head and he starts sniffing heron, well, now they got a customer for life. So he goes from working with those guys to being a customer, and he never saw it coming. Well, the same thing is true in politics. If you claim blackness, this is where the imagery starts first. Come on out to Oakland, February 23rd of every year. We have a little black imagery parade where we're just proud to be black people. And it's a beautiful thing. You see all different types of stuff, man, good and bad. But it's just good to see black folks walking around just enjoying being who we are. The other thing to really understand about this, once again, and we're going to talk about this in the next thing, I'm exposing the fact that there's a lot of inconsistencies on people who grab the microphone and say this stuff. A lot of people got inconsistency. And I'm at the point where you got to challenge these inconsistencies because it's damaging to the whole black pride thought process. Goofy dudes are not part of the black pride conversation. Hood supremacists, dudes that just want to think street life and kill and destroy, and they're not part of the process either. Even when they black, they're just not. You know what I'm saying? The worst part we got now is we got a lot of non-strategic adults still acting like teenagers. If you'd like to donate to the podcast, you can do that through the King of Classy. Leave a comment in the comments section. Let's get that conversation started below. Peace.